today we welcome to the studio some folks that have been in Wayne County for quite some time now, helping people with their disaster assistance. We want to welcome Mary Gipson. Mary, you're with the
Small Business
Administration and FEMA as well, and of course Debra Young from FEMA, and it's so good to have you both in with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for coming by. Appreciate you coming by. All right, let's start. Now, the FEMA office here in Goldsboro, Wayne County, has closed. That was the office at the W.A. Foster Recreation Center.
Right.
But assistance is still available. Who wants to tell us about that?
Absolutely. Just because the Disaster Recovery Center has closed doesn't mean that you can't still reach out to FEMA for help. You can call the 800 number, 621-3362, if you have any issues with your registration and your application for assistance. Or you can go on to disasterassistance.gov and check the status of your registration.
Now, FEMA was set up here, well, right after the storm, and the storm hit about October 8th, and you were here that the very following week immediately helping people.
Right.
Do you have any numbers about what you were able to do here in Wayne County?
Well, here in Wayne County, there have been 6,576 applications for assistance. $8.95 million has been approved for residents here in Wayne County.
My goodness.
Yes. It's the third highest in the state.
Is that right? From Hurricane Matthew?
Yes.
Third highest in the state here in Wayne County.
Fully about 10% of all the assistance has been approved is here in Wayne County.
My goodness. We were hard hit, weren't we?
Yes.
I didn't realize it was that much. 6,500 people had applied.
Right.
That's a pretty high number, isn't it?
That is. That is.
My goodness. How long have you been doing this, Debra?
I started with FEMA right after Hurricane Katrina. In 2005.
Okay.
Yes.
So a little over 11 years now.
Yes.
So how does this particular storm, and I know each one is individual and you can't compare storms, but how are we doing here in Wayne County as compared to some of the other storms and recovery from those storms?
You know, yeah, it really is impossible to say. Each storm is different. For each individual who's going through this, it's a horrible thing. It's probably the worst thing you may go through in your life.
Yeah.
So,
a lot of people hurting.
Yes.
And they're still hurting.
Yes. We have 111 families still in transitional housing in our transitional sheltering program.
They have no home.
Right. And they're living in hotels, and we're working hard to get them out of that program. That one was extended. The original deadline was January 7th. It was extended until the 28th, but every 14 days we're looking at how many people are in that program, trying to get them into some kind of temporary housing or more permanent housing.
Wow.
It's difficult. And if you can imagine a family of 4 living in a hotel room, it's not a good situation.
And it's been 90 days or so roughly since they've had to do this.
Right. And we're really working with those families, contacting them and making sure that they're working on a housing plan themselves. If people are having trouble finding housing, they can go to FEMA.gov and search our housing portal. And there's housing, you put in your zip code or where you want to live, and it will show available housing in those areas.
Most likely these are homes that they will not be able to return to. They're going to have to find elsewhere to live. Is that the case?
Some may be able to return to their home depending on how badly it was damaged and how quickly they're able to get get their home repaired.
So there's still 111 people.
111 families.
Families?
Households is the way we term it. Households.
Oh my goodness. So it's certainly more than 111 people.
Probably,
yeah,
yes.
When you count the children and the spouses and everything.
Right.
My goodness. So the deadline, you look at that every 2 weeks and then make a decision.
Yes, they're working with families every 2 weeks to make sure that they've been working on a housing plan. And if you haven't been working on a housing plan, may become not eligible for that program.
Which means they would not have a place to live after that time.
Right.
So they have to be working on this.
Yes, people need to be working on their own housing plan.
Right.
I mean, there's only so much we can do.
Well, yes, you can't find a place for them to live. They have to find this on their own.
But yeah, but that portal is there because we have identified properties in the area that they can, apply to, look at, and try to find something. It may just be for a temporary housing, or sometimes in some cases it may be a more permanent housing.
So does the portal indicate homes for sale or primarily for rent or a
for
combination?
Rent.
Mostly for rent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, my goodness. Mary, tell me about the SBA's part in this.
Well, just as Debra was saying, for those who were having a housing plan, we are the long-term recovery. We are here to help when FEMA funds and everything drop off, or even work simultaneously with FEMA. So we make loans now. Our FEMA grants, ours are loans. So we assign to everyone in Wayne County and all the other counties that were impacted. If you've been referred to SBA by FEMA, by all means, call, get your application, complete your application, and return it. Do not make the decision that you don't want a loan. I know most of us do not want a loan. You may not qualify for a loan. That keeps the doors open if you are not qualified for one. And if you're qualified for it, you do not have to take it, but it is at a very good interest rate. You can get funds for your personal property if you're a homeowner or a renter of $40,000. If you're a homeowner, you can get $200,000 to replace or repair your damaged home. This is that long-term recovery to get you back into the condition, as close to the condition you were in prior to the disaster.
Now, the $40,000, is that income or?
$40,000 to replace.
To replace.
Personal damaged property. That's personal property. That's your furniture, your refrigerator, and etc. But the homeowners can get up to $200,000 to replace or repair their damaged home.
I see.
Now, we make loans to businesses of all sizes for physical damage, and for businesses who are impacted economically. You do not have to have physical damage if you're a small business. So we business, nonprofit organization, homeowners, and renters. We make loans, and these loans are made at a very good interest rate. The terms and conditions are very good. For homeowners, they can get it as low as 1.563%.
My goodness.
And for a term of 30 years. Now, if you only needed $25,000 to repair or replace all of what was damaged in Hurricane Matthew, then you can obtain that loan without having collateral. And again, at that 30-year term, at very low interest rate if you're a homeowner or renter. So we're encouraging, and there are a number of survivors out there who are still trying to make a decision as to whether they're going to apply for an SBA loan to long-term recovery to get you back as close to the condition you were in prior to the disaster. Apply for your SBA loan. If you turn down for the SBA loan, then keep the doors open for you to go back to FEMA and other organizations out there for grant consideration.
For grant consideration.
Right, but if you don't apply, you can't get back to that position of asking for additional consideration.
So step one is to go to SBA for a loan.
Step one is FEMA. Step two is SBA. Step three is back to FEMA if you do not qualify.
You don't qualify. Well, now what would keep someone from qualifying?
Well, we look at number, just as any other creditor or lender would do. We look at your ability to repay. We do not want to make a loan to anyone that cannot pay it, and we do not want to overburden them with financial obligations. So we look at your credit, everything that a normal institution would look at. But again, that collateral of $25,000, you can get that without. So you may not have collateral to go over $25,000, but that's all you need is $25,000. You don't need collateral, low interest rate, long term.
That is amazing. That's an amazing interest rate and no collateral on top of that.
For the first $25,000.
First $25,000.
That's all you need.
My goodness.
And that's for business as well as for homeowners and renters.
And this is up to 30 years.
Up to 30. Now that's the good thing. Up to 30 years. So if $25,000 you spread it over a 30-year period, you have a very reasonable and a note that you can pay.
Prepayment penalty?
No prepayment penalty. Nor do we charge you for canceling a loan. If we make the loan to you, approve it, and you say, okay, I'm going to let it sit here for a while and decide you don't want it, they do not charge you, SBA will not charge you for canceling the loan.
You know, there's probably some lending institutions out there that could take a lesson from this, couldn't they? I mean, really.
Absolutely.
I mean, think about that. But no, on a serious, being serious about this, you say if they don't want it,
they don't have
to take it.
No.
But it's good to go ahead and get your name in the pot, just in case.
Just in case. You may not have enough of your personal resources to fully recover. And maybe $20,000, your loan's been approved, it's there because we have a deadline. And the deadline has been extended to the 23rd. SBA is the 23rd, and FEMA
is the 23rd.
But we want to make it clear now that they have to go through FEMA first, and FEMA will send them to you, refer
yes,
them to you.
and many have already registered with FEMA, as she mentioned in this area, what, 6,500?
Right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we've gotten over 3,000 referred to us, and we have made loans for the Wayne County area for about 210, which is not very many, but that of the 3,000 that have been referred to us, they're still trying to decide whether they're going to come to SBA or not, and we don't want them to delay it any longer.
Right.
You just make the application, complete it, and the deadline passed, you can continue working with SBA after the deadline. But if you do not get your application in before the deadline, then you're going to have some problem. You have to then show some extenuating circumstances as to why you didn't apply.
So there's just
Right.
no point in not applying.
Just no
There's
point in
no
applying.
point. I mean, get your name in the books, get your loan approved, and then work it out, and then
Yeah,
worry about it
right,
later.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meet the
If you miss the
deadline.
boat, you're
And that's one of the reasons I wanted to come back in and talk to everyone, is because the deadline was extended to January 23rd.
right.
It was initially January 9th, but we've given people a couple of extra weeks to try to get in, you know, if for whatever reason you decided you didn't want to apply. You know, there are a
Well, we
number of
got-
reasons people decide maybe I don't need that much money, or my damage wasn't that bad. But there are things that you can find out about your home months down the line,
Mm-hmm.
that maybe you have some kind of structural damage that you didn't realize that 1 inch of water caused. So you need to go ahead and apply now. You may not need the assistance, but if you don't apply by the deadline,
You're not going to get it,
No.
regardless.
That's true.
absolutely.
So if someone says, I need $20,000 or
Mm-hmm.
I need $15,000, and then down the road a year from now they see they need another 10, can they add to
You
that?
can, for an SBA loan, you can add on later, but your application, you have to meet that deadline application, get it in
You
first.
got to get that in first.
Uh-huh,
That's
yes.
the main thing right there, is to get that application in, get your name on the
And
books.
I just wanted to encourage people, if you received a letter saying that you weren't eligible for assistance, to read the letter clearly, because there is an appeals process. And you have 60 days from the date of that letter to appeal the determination.
Well, that's
So you need to make sure, sometimes you just didn't send in a piece of information that was needed.
Mm-hmm.
And you just need to really read the letter and see what it says. If you have any questions, call 800-621-3362, and someone at the FEMA helpline can help walk you through that appeal process.
And if you have trouble remembering that, that's 621 FEMA,
Yes.
That's right.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
But you know, we stopped saying that because of the new phones, the numbers don't match up with the letters anymore.
Is that right?
Yes.
What kind of phone is that?
I don't know. You know, all
I
these
never heard of such a thing.
newfangled phones.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess.
and we have a 1-800 number too. If you call and can't get in on FEMA line, there's another number that you can call and get the same type of assistance. That's SBA's number, which is 1-800-659-25955. SBA.
SBA. One more time. What's that number?
Let me find it here, make
All
sure
right,
I
we're
give
gonna find
you
that number.
the right
We don't-
number.
We don't want to be calling
1-800.
Harold's Pizza
Yeah,
Place. do
1-800,
we?
that's true.
Right.
1-800-659-2955. I was correct.
All right.
1-800-659-2955.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay.
And you know, there's one other thing I wanted to mention. We've heard from some people who are renters that their landlords have wanted them to turn over their FEMA money to the landlord to repair the
Ooh.
home. That is not the way it works. The landlord is a business owner, and if they have damaged property, it's their responsibility to do that, and the renter does not have to turn over any money to your landlord. So we want people to know that, because there's some unscrupulous people out there.
Unfortunately.
That money is
yeah.
there for you to find your temporary housing and to replace your personal property, not to fix the landlord's
No,
property.
you're right. So
Right.
if they get, and a renter, this would be money to replace the furnishings, perhaps, and the clothing and the personal
Right.
items,
And to pay for your temporary housing.
and to pay for temporary housing.
Right.
That money is theirs.
Right.
It is not the landlord's. He can apply for his own.
For his SBA
his
loan
own-
to fix his
Exactly.
property.
Hey,
Right.
get with the program here.
Yes.
Figure that one out. I mean, that's not rocket science. I mean, they get their own money, and that's for their use.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So where do we go from here? We got 6,500 people who have applied, and
That's
a
right.
couple of $3 million in money that's been
Yes. Almost $9 million.
$9 million. My goodness. All right. Here in Wayne County, the third highest in the state.
Yes.
That's amazing to me.
And the SBA loan amount is $8 million too for the
Is that
for
right?
the county. Yes, we made loans to my $8,172,000.
But that was only for 300 and some people. Was that right?
A little less than 210 people.
210
Yeah.
people. Wow, we got a long way to go.
Yes, we have a long way to go. We had 3,400 that were referred to us by FEMA. Now, there are 3,400 minus the one that have applied. They need to get the application in.
Okay, but now these people that have been referred to SBA, they have that information about how to contact,
That's
Yes.
how to call, contact you.
Yes.
Now, the office here has closed. Where are you working? Or how do people, do they need to contact you for any reason?
Me personally, or just FEMA in general?
Just FEMA in general.
Yeah, only if you have questions about your registration, your application, housing, any of those things.
So that's 621 FEMA. 1-800-621-FEMA.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
621-3362.
3362. That's right.
If you have an older phone, it will be 621 FEMA.
Okay.
But,
Yeah,
yes.
get rid of that new phone.
Yeah, right.
And people, are you still the contact for SBA?
Yes, it's 1-800-659-2955.
Okay.
1-800-659-2955. And they have people there that will answer your question, pull up your application, give you the status of it, and tell you what the next step you need to take.
And they have until the 23rd
23rd,
23rd.
11:59 p.m.
at midnight.
Yeah.
Or 1 minute before midnight.
Yes.
Let's be accurate here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So now, so they don't need to contact you personally for anything, nor you.
It's the 1-800
All right. Just,
number.
all right. Call FEMA or call the SBA, Small Business Administration. Now,
Yes, sir.
you know, when the SBA first came into being, did they imagine that they'd be doing something like this to help individuals rather than?
Well, let me just say, we are the arm of SBA that offer a disaster assistance to those who have been impacted by a disaster, where it's been declared by the president or where it's been declared by the agency.
Okay.
So we do make loans. We do have the other side of SBA. We don't
Right.
want you to be confused. Don't say you're not in business. We make loans to homeowners, renters, businesses of all sizes, and nonprofit organizations, including churches, and we do make loans to replace vehicles when there's a vehicle that's damaged.
Now, is that in case of emergency only or disaster only?
Disaster only.
That's disaster
That's the
only.
Office of Disaster Assistance, disaster
Gotcha.
only.
But now the SBA, the other arm of
The
the
other
SBA,
arm of SBA work with small business
small
only.
business only. I got it. I got it. All right. Deborah, thank you so much for coming in.
You're welcome.
And I
Thank you for
appreciate-
allowing us to get this information out.
Absolutely. It's good to see you again as well.
You
Take
too.
care. Mary Gipson,
And
thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Where are you from, Mary?
I am working out of Atlanta.
Are you really?
Yes, I'm here
Peachtree
from
State.
Peachtree State,
Yeah,
right?
all
the
right.
Peach City.
And how about you? Where are you from?
I live in Stone Mountain, Georgia.
Do you now?
Yes, but I'm a Connecticut girl.
Are you really?
Yes.
Okay, well, we won't hold that against you, okay?
Ah, the Northeast is wonderful.
But I wasn't going to add, I'm originally from Mississippi, so I love it.
There you go. All right. Good
Mississippi.
deal. All right. Nothing against Connecticut now.
No.
All right. No, I love it. All right. Thank you so much. And we've been
Thank
talking
you.
with Debra Young with FEMA and with Mary Gipson from the Small Business Administration. Thank you, ladies.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.